This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. It's a freaking Thursday. It's a Thursday after, I decided to return to 5 nights a week, and I'm fucking tired. Why did I decide to do this again? Because it's political season. We got all kinds of shit to talk about. And I'm going to try to hustle. I'm going to try to hustle at both streaming and my, job. Try to, make it or something. I don't know. I'm having a midlife crisis. What's going on? Welcome. We got shit to talk about. I need brushing? I just brushed it. I brushed it out. I wanted it to, flill out. That's what I was going for. Tell me I need brushing. I coiffed it. I coiffed it. I'm not balding. I wouldn't say long hair, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I'll have my luscious locks back before you know it. Dutch boy hair. God damn it. I look like the guy on the paint cans. Just shave the back, Libertad. Shave the back, leave what little bits on the top and the sides. And just shave the back. Also, Libertad, good evening. Warlord, Sparkles. Justin, I bet the Republicans wish they had a younger candidate. What is that quote? Lord, I see what you have given others, and I wish, pray for that for me, or some shit like that. Yes. I'm happy. We're gonna talk about the vice president. We have indication both ways that it might be Josh Shapiro, that it might be Andy Bashir. I didn't really get any kind of indication on Tim Walz today, but I got a little clip I'm gonna play of him. John Fain went on CNN and said he's got two names on his lips when it comes to the vice presidency, and it's the same two names I've been saying. Warlord, tonight we're going to start off with the update. The children identified. The stabber has been charged. The Taylor Swift, the Swiftie stabber. The Swiftie stabber, that's what we'll call him. The Swiftie stabber. Iran's supreme leader attended the funeral of the Hezbollah leader. Here's your meme of the day. Yes, we cat. I'm not high enough for you people. Quesadilla, good evening. I have this client, and he runs a shipping business, right? He's like a middleman for like a logistical fucking bullshit. I think. I don't know what he's fucking talking about. I had to do these Zoom meetings with him. And he goes like blah 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 blah. We're trying to do this in this market, and I provide this service to these clients and blah blah blah. And I do not need to know this shit. I mean, I can't say this. I have to sit there with a grin. Fucking yes. I don't need to know it at all. And it's like I try to interject and be like, okay, so can you do this for me to get me this asset that I can put in our video? And I'm really happy with the way the video has turned out. I think I did a good job with it. Okay. This is the first rough cut. Oh, you didn't get to see my cool animation I made there.
Have you heard about Global Trans GTZ Ship? It's an impressive control tower platform designed for managing large-scale truckload transportation networks. The cool thing is that it offers real-time updates on carrier capacity and rates, making it super easy to find the perfect carriers for your needs. A lot of smaller distributors and manufacturers might think their shipping strategies are already on point, but sometimes unexpected curveballs can mess things up. That's where we come in to lend a hand. GTZ has a massive transportation network with the bonus of leveraging the bargaining power of over 85,000 carriers in our ever-expanding local, regional, and national network. So you're definitely in good company. Plus, our regional coverage is backed by a team of experienced carrier support experts and capacity managers. With over 121,000 satisfied customers, you can trust our quality. Now, the real gem is our control tower technology.
A lot of it's stock footage, yes.
Feature. It's like having a control tower for your transportation network. We've moved a whopping 36 million shipments in the last 12 months. That's some serious action. If you need data and insights, then we've got you covered. Our advanced reporting tools give you real-time updates on all your historical and current KPI data. You can even do comparative reporting to gain some unique insights into your sales, your customers, and even your competitors.
Goat Rocks Group. I did originally, and then he gave me that. That's his voice. So, yeah. So, minor changes that he asked for. I mean, do you want me to go through the edits? 'Cause that's my first rough draft. First of all, like, I made this look exactly like his website. Like, his website is this faded blue color, but he told me that his branding is black and gold, which I saw that. I saw that on other things. Like, this picture was his. Like, a lot of it is stock footage, because what do you think a video editor does, Warlord? If I'm not making animations to go black and yellow, black and yellow. So, like, he wants me to make this shit look black, you know, be black and gold accent. So yeah, I'll do that. That's super easy. See, that's his website. That's what I was going off of. I don't know. I don't. They're not paying me enough to go out and film shit, Warlord. You can pay me to go out and film shit, but that's expensive. And, like, how I'm gonna have to go out and film trucks? No, I use stock footage for that. What, do we have to start off with a car chase? This is stock footage. This is something he gave me. The thing that he wanted to do was that, like, while some of his clients may see prices that high, they're more usually in the, like, $500 to $1,000 range. So he kind of felt like there was sticker shock there, and he wanted to get me a new one of these that had prices that were more like $600, $700, $800 kind of dollars. That's stock footage. That was a picture, and it's kind of blurry, but, like, I had to work with what I've got, right? So I took his picture, and then, like, I fucking cut out the text and shit and made it, like, pop in. You know, add value. I don't use AI. No, Warlord, you have no idea. This motherfucker was using AI. He came to me to make something that looks good and makes sense. That's it. People say that AI is gonna take my job, and it ain't. And I agreed with him. Like, you know, he's gonna get me better graphics for what they're talking about right here. And then in this section, I even told him, I was like, this is a placeholder. I don't want this here. I want you to go get me, like, I asked for a login to the program. He showed me the program. But he was showing me, like, his actual client's information and shit. And I'm like, well, can you do this as a dummy? Like, can you give me, you know, a mock-up that's, you know, 555-5555, you know, fake addresses and, you know, John Smith and whatever the fuck. and I was like, I want to show the application here. So that was something I came to the table. It was like, I don't want this piece of stock footage here, and I don't like this. This is not good. So I want the application up there for all that, and then like my animation out is really good. I usually don't show my client shit on stream, but like this dude's like 77, 78. He got hit in the head with a hammer, right? And because like I'm getting on the street because I had a I am moderating a webinar series for a company that makes silicone and shit, and Tuesday it's about foam. It's about some kind of foam they make. And today was the first walkthrough for that. So like I was running late for his meeting because I was doing the walkthrough and here I am like on their fucking stream with my bandana, my perfect. I dress up when I do the real thing. I move the couch over and shit, and I don't have the lights on. It's a more professional setup when I'm doing the moderator thing. So I'm in the meeting with them doing this walkthrough, and I'm rushing to get to the meeting with this guy for the transportation thing. So I come into the Zoom meeting with him, and he's like drooling, and his eye is all droopy and shit, and I'm like going off like explaining to him, and I'm like, wait, are you okay? What? Oh my God, are you okay? Are you sure you want to do this right now? And apparently, he got hit in the head with this hammer on some work site he was on. And they're like Botoxing him because of like the nerve had fused with. I don't fucking know. He told me in way too much detail, and whoop. But they're Botoxing him, so that's why he like looked like that. That's been my day. After I get done with this show, I'm going to collapse on that couch. I've been up since like 7 o'clock this morning or some shit. Also, I didn't pay my electric bill, and I'm sitting on the toilet at like 8 something or other this morning, and my electricity goes out. God damn it. And when I go look on the phone, apparently the electric company had been trying to call me and tell me to pay my bill. Is what even legal? Cutting your electricity off? Yeah. Totally legal. You don't pay it, they'll cut that sucker off. Clinically, good evening. Oh, yeah. Yes, we cat. Yes, we cat. Cut off your service. Ooh, that sucks, Dustin. But it's all good. It's all good. I've been busy as fuck with work. So it's just I'm meant to. Here's the thing, right? Because my dumb ass got my electricity cut off last month. Yes. And I had a reconnect fee, so it was way more. It was like $150. I paid like $100 of it. And like if I had called them yesterday, they wouldn't have cut it off. But like I was busy. And I'm stupid. No, we couch. So sorry I went off on a little rant. We have not gotten into the news in the first 10 minutes, and my apologies for that. But I do have a car chase for you tonight. I didn't even go over what all we were talking about. Yeah, I did. I kind of did. I talked about what we were going to talk about, and then I went on a rant. All right, we're going to start off tonight in jolly old Britain, where people aren't too jolly after the stabbing of several children. I'm calling it the Swiftie stabbings.
A 17-year-old male has been charged with murder for the deaths of 3 young girls in a violent knife attack in Southport, according to police on Wednesday. The attack has sparked sometimes violent protests in Southport and now in London, seemingly fueled by false information online that the suspect is a radical Islamist migrant. The latest one, just outside the Prime Minister's residence at 10 Downing Street Wednesday night, with thousands shouting, "Save our kids, we want our country back," and "Stop the boats," as well as English football chants. However, police say that the suspect was born in Britain and had no links to terrorism, and the 17-year-old, who cannot be named for legal reasons as he is under 18, will appear in Liverpool Magistrates Court on Thursday.
I wonder what kind of tattoos that guy has. I'm kind of wondering what that might be down his back on his shoulder.
Appear in Liverpool Magistrates Court on Thursday. He was already in police custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder after the bloody rampage on Monday at a Taylor Swift yoga and dance workshop. The 3 girls killed were aged 6 to 9. Merseyside Police Chief Constable Serena Kennedy stressed on Wednesday authorities were legally restricted in what information they could share about the suspect.
We remind all concerned that criminal proceedings against the defendant are active and that he has a right to a...
If you fucking typed in, like, stock photo of British woman, this is exactly what you would get. Like, she is absurdly British. Aggressively British.
Trial. It is extremely important that there should be no reporting, commentary or sharing of information online which could in any way prejudice these proceedings.
Kennedy also sought to assure Southport residents that they were bracing for further violence in the days ahead. The day after the stabbing, there had been violent clashes between protesters and police in Southport, amid online speculation over the suspect's origins, resulting in injuries to over 50 officers, with police arresting more than 100 people for related offences. Police believe they were supporters of a right-wing, anti-Islam, anti-immigration group. The Office of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he will meet senior police leaders on Thursday after the clashes outside his Downing Street office and residence, and that he'd used the meeting to, quote, offer them the government's full backing following multiple high-profile incidents of extreme violence and public disorder on our streets.
Once again, I would like to advocate that we have a more British-like system. I like how they boot their prime minister out like the next fucking day and the new guy takes over. Cause like even if Kamala wins, we still have to put up with Biden for like 3 fucking months. It makes no sense. Why do we do this? Why are we like this as a country? Justin, how fast are you going to be able to get electricity and come back out? That be the question. I'm not high enough. I'm not high enough for any of this shit. Definitely not high enough for this next set of stories. DJ Dub, good evening. Pack another bong. In case you didn't notice, we're starting off with foreign affairs tonight. It's like I need something. I need something before we cover this subject. Gotta calm my nerves. Especially with the latest developments. The story says Hezbollah leader, but I assume that the Hezbollah leader was killed, so this would be the new Hezbollah leader. because we are seeing the Iranian whatchamacallit, not a mufti, that was old school, Ayatollah. I think that might be old school too. Mullah. No. I don't. Is it racism just over here like throwing out? A couple of those legitimately were the names of the leader, the Shah in Iran. Fuck, I don't know. Let me let a news station say it. Oh fuck, it's the AP. I'm gonna have to fucking read it. Tex, good evening. This was the Hezbollah leader. He in that casket.
حقيقة الأمر لا نحن أمام معركة كبرى.
This is Hassan Nasrallah. I guess he is the new Hezbollah leader. We are facing a big battle now. It is beyond a support front now.
تجاوزت فيها المسألة مسألة جبهات إسناد.
There is now a battle in Gaza. There is now a battle in South Lebanon, and open battle in Yemen, and even in Iraq.
وحتى في العراق. لأنه كل هذا عم
Because this is all happening at the same time. Hodeidah is struck. Jafar Sakar is struck yesterday or the day before in Iraq. And at the same time, the leader Ismail Hania is killed in Tehran. And at the same time, Food Shuku is killed in Dahayan. It is no longer just fronts. It is now an open battle on all fronts. Yeah, this was Hamas leader Ismail Hailman. I fucked up a lot of names there. I'm sorry. I should have got fucking BBC or something to explain it. The U.S. is preparing for it. U.S. prepares to counter Iranian attack on Israel within days. Tones, good evening. The Biden administration is convinced Iran is going to attack Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. I've said it a different way every fucking time. Ayatollah. U.S. officials say they expect any Iranian retaliation to be from the same playbook as their April 13th attack on Israel, but potentially larger in scope, and it could also involve the Lebanese Hezbollah. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and other senior Iranian, I've got like cat hair in my mouth, political and military officials said Iran is going to retaliate for Haniyeh's assassination. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah has also vowed to respond to the Israeli. That's who we were just watching. Haniyeh. Kamradsky, thank you. Thank you for the phonetical pronunciation. Haniyeh. Feel proud of myself now. Hezbollah leader, who we were just watching, Hassan Nasrallah, has also vowed to respond to the Israeli airstrike in Beirut on Tuesday that killed his top military advisor. The Biden administration is concerned it may be more difficult to mobilize the same international and regional coalition of countries and defend Israel from the previous Iranian attack because Haniyeh, I fucked it up again. Haniyeh's assassination is in the context of the Israel-Hamas war, which has drawn sharp anti-Israel sentiments across the region. The attack in April was in retaliation for an Israeli airstrike on an Iranian facility in Damascus that killed a top Iranian general. Several Arab countries, including Jordan and Saudi Arabia, either helped shoot down Iranian and Houthi drones or allowed the U.S. and Israel to use their airspace to intercept threats. The U.S. intelligence community started receiving clear indications on Wednesday that Iran is going to retaliate. Two U.S. officials said it could take the Iranians and their proxies a few days to coordinate and prepare an attack on Israel. Another U.S. official said the Pentagon and U.S. Central Command are taking similar preparations to those made ahead of the attack in April. We expect a rough few days, the official said. Story mentioned Saudi Arabia. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, Holiday, good evening. Apparently the families of the 9/11 victims and survivors are a little upset about the plea deals struck by the plotters, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and others, in the 9/11 back in the headlines. Would you look at this? Reporting like it's 2001 again.
And accused as the mastermind behind the September 11th terrorist attacks, and his two accomplices have agreed to a plea deal in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. The development comes 16 years after their prosecution started. Ali Rogan has the latest.
The three men, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the alleged leader behind the attacks, and Walid Mohammed Saleh Mubarak bin Attash, and Mustafa Ahmed Adam al-Hawsawi, all agreed to plead guilty in exchange for life sentences. The men have been in custody since 2000.
I don't exactly know what the 9/11 families want. Why would you be upset with the guilty pleas in exchange for life sentences? Would you want them executed?
2003 and initially charged in 2008. But there have been years of legal delays due in part to the brutal torture the men were subjected to while in detention.
There's also that.
Prosecutors said they recognized the deal would be met with mixed reactions among thousands of family members who lost loved ones, but they called it the best path to finality and justice in this case. For a closer look, I'm joined by Wall Street Journal reporter Jess Braven. He's the author of The Terror Courts, an account of...
He looks like he's going to fall over any second.
Jess, thank you so much for joining us. How did this deal come to be?
He detoxing?
Why is it happening now?
Well, this deal was under negotiation since 2022, and it wasn't the first time a deal like this was considered. For years, prosecutors and officials in the military commission apparatus thought that a deal for life sentences in exchange for guilty pleas would be the only way out. So an earlier effort was quashed by higher-ups in the Pentagon. This one began as...
Hold on, let me translate, brother.
And has continued as some of the detainees, some of the defendants, KSM as we've called him, and the other two decided they were ready to get some finality for their own fate and move forward. So it really accelerated in the last 2 weeks.
I don't understand Russian.
Guantanamo Bay, prosecutors and the defense attorney said they were ready to...
No hablo Russian. Was that racist? No speaker, no Ruski. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
To wrap it up.
But stick around. We got a story about Russia here after this one.
Try to get this case closed.
Prosecutors had sought the death penalty, but the alleged torture that the defendants underwent for years complicated those proceedings. How did that all factor into this decision?
Well, it was really essential because, right after 9/11, when reports began emerging about brutal treatment of enemy prisoners, torture, as in fact President Obama called it at one point, began to emerge, there were questions about how would this affect any future trials. And there were legal experts then who warned
the U.S. of A., my friend.
It's possible to prosecute people if they were severely mistreated by the government while in custody. And that is exactly what has happened. These detainees wanted to bring in evidence of how they were treated by the CIA.
Princess Kimberly, good evening.
Mohammed had been waterboarded, they'd been beaten, all kinds of things had been done to them that the United States would not tolerate for its own citizens. And they wanted to bring in evidence saying that any statements they made were infected by torture. So a lot of the pretrial wrangling over more than a decade has been over what can the defendants...
Okay, I understand that you're using a translator, but then how do you understand me when I talk to you? Or are you talking to somebody else in the chat? I'm very confused on that. What state am I from? I don't know. Russian just pop into my chat, start asking me where I'm located and shit. I might get a little fucking antsy. Why are you coming in here asking all these questions? We got some kind of cyber attack you're gonna launch on me? Sir, please dox yourself. Yeah, why don't you ask me my credit card number, my birth date, social security, my mom's maiden name. Oh my God. They tortured him into a confession, but I think they did actually do it. I think they were on the FBI and the CIA radar beforehand. Krell, good evening.
Introduce about their treatment. And then there was a second factor, which is that under a doctrine sometimes called unclean hands, the government is punished by courts when it commits misconduct in a trial. And abusing defendants in custody is misconduct. So it is possible that even if they were convicted and sentenced to death, on appeal, a higher court might sanction the government by taking the death penalty off the table. So the death penalty seemed to be really a bridge too far given the mistreatment of these prisoners after they were captured by the U.S.
And what do we know about how the families of 9/11 victims are responding to this?
It is a total mixed bag. There are thousands of families of victims, and as you would expect, there are opinions across the gamut. There are some who feel that nothing short of death is appropriate for these defendants, and based on their actions, it would be hard to say if the death penalty is appropriate for anyone. It wouldn't be.
I mean, to anyone who thinks that the death penalty is the only way, like, if you were doing this strictly for vengeance, keeping them alive and torturing them. The U.S. admits to torturing them. I believe the U.S. prison system in and of itself is torture. But they admit to going way further than our horrendous prisons, which most countries, or a lot of countries, do not recognize as meeting the minimum humanitarian standards. I've got no beef with Russia, Veronin. I'm kind of anti-fascist, and Putin's a fascist. But like, I love Russian people. Russian people are cool.
Appropriate for them. Others simply oppose the death penalty. Many Americans and people around the world just philosophically or morally oppose the death penalty.
You ever smoked weed?
Some of those are among the victims' families.
You guys can't get weed in Russia, can you?
Prosecutor's point of view, which is that ideally
do that crocodile shit.
Capital punishment for these defendants, but it's just time for closure, and it's time to end this proceeding and move forward. One of the features of the deal is that there will be a sentencing hearing where the defendants can testify, but they will have to answer questions from the victims' families. And for many of those families who are looking for answers, who are looking for some sense of these accused perpetrators, that hearing will be the substitution for a full trial on about what happened in the lead up to 9/11.
In the moments we have left, what happens next? Where do these defendants spend their life sentences?
Well, again, it hasn't fully been approved by all the proceedings that have to happen, but the plan is that they will next enter a plea, probably within a week or a month of now. Next year, there'll be the sentencing hearing, and after their sentence is confirmed, they likely will spend it right where they are now, at Guantanamo Bay. The technical status of their detention will change. They'll be sentenced prisoners, but in terms of their day-to-day lives, probably not much will change. They will be looking at the same four walls that they are looking at right now for the rest of their lives.
Jess Braven covering this every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining us.
If all you're looking for in a sentence is to be mean to people, keeping them in prison for life is far worse than death, I assure you. Speaking of prisoners, speaking of Russia, monumental diplomatic achievement by the Biden administration. Multiple prisoners exchanged between Russia and the U.S. Germany was involved somehow. This is a wild deal that went on.
Diplomacy and friendship. That's how President Joe Biden today described the largest prisoner swap since the Cold War. It was a massive effort resulting in 4 U.S. residents.
Veronin, people in this country go to prison for 5 to 7 years for weed. Fortunately for me, I'm white, so I don't. I've even been arrested for possession multiple times and gotten out of it multiple times. And the good portion of it is because I'm white. Also because I had the money to fuck, because my parents helped me. If I was to get arrested now, I'd be fucked.
Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, Marine veteran Paul Whelan, the journalist Alsu Kuramasheva, and pro-democracy activist Vladimir Kara-Murza finally heading home. Here's President Biden surrounded by the families of the detainees.
Deals like this one come with tough calls, and there are never any guarantees. But there's nothing that matters more to me than protecting Americans at home and abroad. And so we'll continue to work for the release of all wrongfully detained Americans around the world.
Now, in total, Russia is releasing 16 prisoners in exchange. NBC News reports, quote, the U.S. released 3 Russian prisoners, including an intelligence operative facing charges of smuggling U.S. technology and ammunition to the Russian military. Slovenia released 2 Russian prisoners. Norway and Poland each released 1. A source tells NBC
Interesting.
The swap is the result of nearly 2 years of persistent diplomacy by the Biden administration after the WNBA star Brittany Griner was released in December of 2022. Now, the exact details of this deal only came together in the last 2 weeks, with the president personally lobbying Germany and other European allies to help. For the released Americans and their families, today is undoubtedly a good day. This video from Russian media claims to show the detainees as they boarded the plane. Paul Whelan had been detained for more than 2,000 days since 2018. Gershkovich had been imprisoned on charges of espionage for 491 days. His employer, the Wall Street Journal, with this incredible homepage, as well as this stunning piece of reporting on Gershkovich's final moments in Russian custody. Quote, the Russian Federation had a few final items of protocol to tick through with the man who had become its most famous prisoner. 1, he would be allowed to leave with the papers he'd penned in detention, the letters he'd scrawled out, and the makings of a book he'd labored over. But
that's good.
They had another piece of writing they required from him, an official request for presidential clemency. The text, moreover, should be addressed to Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. The pro forma printout included a long blank space that the prisoner could fill out if desired, or simply, as expected, leave blank. In the formal high Russian that he had honed over 16 months imprisonment, the Journal's Russia correspondent filled out the page. The last line submitted a proposal of his own. After his release, would Putin be willing to sit down for an interview? That's where we start today with the veteran journalist and co-author of the book Kremlin Rising, Susan Glass.
Oh, God.
4 years.
It's always a book plug. Ronan, you have many LGBTQ people in your country. They're just in the closet because of your laws. Yes, like fucking... I suck a little dick sometimes, my friend.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Might do a little topping from time to time. On rare occasions, I might even bottom. I wouldn't mind if you were prejudiced against me. I might make fun of you for it, but I wouldn't care. I don't know. I don't know what that means. That's what I love about America, and I want to keep it that way. And there's a lot of forces trying really, really hard to make our country a lot more like Russia, and I don't want that to happen. I'm pretty against that. But like I got no beef with Russia. Russia can do whatever Russia wants. Here was Russian President Vladimir Putin greeting the Russian prisoners. I mean, laws shouldn't be about personal business. Your personal business is your personal business, and nobody should give a shit about it. The only laws about personal business should be laws protecting your personal business. Positive rights for the people, negative rights for the government. Everybody clamors for a Taylor Business update. I might have to write a mini-series or some shit about it. Oh, am I supposed to get up for him?
Thanks for watching. Stay
Oh,
updated.
shut up,
Breaking
Lester.
news and top stories on the NBC.
You don't have a lot of black people in Russia either, do you? You guys don't know what it's like to, fuck guys, fuck, other races and stuff. It's nice. I like being a melting pot. I like having diverse and rich culture. I really wish that people wouldn't get Americanized. I hate that we're so fucking racist and rigid in this country about shit. Because I don't want every place to look like a fucking strip mall. I hate it. I want culture and art. I want us to flourish. But no. We gotta live in like this concrete jungle out here with parking lots fucking everywhere. It's an eyesore. It's a blight. All over this goddamn country, we have been ravaged by industry. When I lived in Alabama, it was the, 3M plant on the Tennessee River just dumping all kinds of chemicals. When I lived in eastern Kentucky, it was the coal industry. Strip mining the mountains. I would ride into town and just see these beautiful fucking mountains that were covered in either gravel or they could plant evergreen trees. That was the only thing that would grow on these mines. If you don't know what strip mining is, they found after technology advanced so much, they found it easier instead of digging a hole and sending miners down to pull the coal up. They just cut the fucking tops of the mountains off and pull the coal out that way. And then they do what's called reclaiming it. But reclaiming didn't bring back the lush ecosystem that existed in eastern Kentucky. It's a fucking blight. And that's every community all across this goddamn country has been ravaged by industry and the capitalistic incentive. And it pisses me the fuck off. Putin can suck my dick. Ronan, I'm sorry, but Putin can suck my dick. I would enjoy it too. Like he seems like he'd be a little Twinkie guy. He's always riding around with his shirt off, showing off his abs. Putin's good buddy, Donald Trump, almost got assassinated, 2 weeks ago now? 2.5 weeks ago? New video has emerged
Video shows the moments leading up to the attempted assassination of former President Trump. You can see a person who's believed to be the gunman circled there, moving across the rooftop. And while the investigation continues,
I feel like we watched this already.
Former President Donald Trump today. CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Skanga is following this story from Washington for us. So, Nicole, talk to us about Trump's interview with the FBI.
Yeah, Lana, this is a routine event in a non-routine investigation. What do I mean by that? The FBI interviews all victims throughout the course of any criminal investigation. Now, in this case, we just so happen to be talking about a former president that's granted round-the-clock Secret Service protection and was, of course, an inch away from a different fate on July 13th. Now, the FBI special agent in charge of Pittsburgh's office says agents are really eager to get Trump's perspective on what he observed on that day. Historically, the former president has been critical of the FBI, but he has agreed it will be interesting to see how long this meeting lasts as investigators continue to search for a motive. Meanwhile, the Secret Service and the Trump campaign have been in conversations in recent days about how to keep the former president safe moving forward, but Trump has already...
I think all indication is this is just a kid that wanted to go out with a bang. He wanted to do something as high profile as he could. If it had been Biden in this area, he would have tried to shoot him. That's what I feel like is going on here.
He returned to outdoor rallies, his first since July 13th, held at Harrisburg's Pennsylvania Farm Show complex. Last night, our reporters on the ground there noticed an even larger law enforcement presence outside the arena. Secret Service, Pennsylvania State Police, Capitol Police, and TSA all on the scene.
Nicole, I want to get your take on this newly released video. What else does it show us? Why is it being released now?
The video shows a person believed to be the gunman, Thomas Crooks, move across the rooftop roughly 400 feet from where Donald Trump was speaking to supporters in Butler. Minutes later, you can see on the video an individual, the same individual, the gunman, pop up on the roof again just moments before shots ring out. Now, the video was taken by one of the shooting victims.
Where'd you hear that he had a girlfriend?
And it doesn't show the moment the former president was struck in the
I've only heard that he's a loner
by Secret Service agents, but it gives you a new perspective. And this video was first given to Fox News by the Copenhaver family. James Copenhaver, 74-year-old retiree who has spoken out through his attorney against what he calls unnecessary political division in this country. Copenhaver was critically wounded on his arm and his abdomen during the shooting.
And the Secret Service released Acting Director Ron Rowe's full testimony to Congress regarding the assassination attempt. What did it reveal?
Yeah, this is interesting. We know now, Lana, that 5 days before the rally on July 8th, Secret Service's Pittsburgh field office
I'll tell you good evening.
With a site survey, local law enforcement at the Butler Farm Show grounds. During that meeting, agents discussed and officers discussed possible line of sight security issues. But it was a full 2 days later, on July 10th, that Secret Service counter sniper and technical security personnel arrived in Pittsburgh. Those assets apparently added later and
Who betrayed you? What? No, Veronin, we like you. Please, please, don't think that we betrayed you. No, you didn't understand me. If you think that I betrayed you, I don't think that you understood me. Let's find out what Fox's perspective is on how Trump did yesterday with Harris Faulkner. What kind of bullshit are they going to sling about this? Are they going to act like this was good for Trump?
I think I've ever been asked a question.
Tim Lord.
So,
light one up, tip one back.
First question. You don't even say hello, how are you?
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
She was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
Sir,
I have
if you
a
don't mind,
hostile
I'd love
judge.
we have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
Excuse you, you're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
Okay, former President Trump taking questions at the National Association of Black Journalists just a short time ago. Harris Faulkner was on the stage. She was co-moderating that Q&A in Chicago. She, of course, is the anchor of the Fox.
That's what, like,
the co-anchor.
how is she going to spin this? I'm.
It was a heated environment from the get-go up there. Give us your take on what happened from the very beginning and what we couldn't see behind the scenes.
Well, let me start there because I think that's really important. What the nation has seen is this incredible buildup with journalists here reportedly upset because Donald Trump was coming. Some of them. And some of them we really hadn't heard from. So what I loved about what you couldn't see today was how much of that audience was enjoying the moment of hearing from a candidate that they might not always agree with. And that is the whole point. That is the growth of journalism, to be able to listen and question those things that you may not know about because you don't often talk to that person or those people. That was the goal here. So for all of that pushback, young journalists that I'm talking to after the event are saying, well, we're glad he's here. And look, you're always going to have a situation like we had today. It was very hard to hear on that dais because of the way the microphones were. They had a lot of technical issues going into this to make this happen. So the delay that there was out to the public that the former president was talking about had a lot to do with that. Now, it did get a little chippy because when a politician is interviewed, sometimes, Martha, they don't always answer the question that you ask. So the reaction.
When a narcissist is confronted with his bullshit.
So some good topics, that are important, not just to black communities. And I say that plural because we're not all the same. We don't think the same. We vote different, that whole thing. And
yeah, you're in a different class.
Too.
Your class trumps your race.
Who want to be in the position that we three journalists were in, and that is interviewing the newsmakers. And we got that. Now, from Donald Trump, we got a lot of talk about the border. And look, if she becomes the Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, that is an issue that they will continue to hit her hard on, Republicans in general, and particularly this former president. I know she's trying to turn the tables and make it about the legislation that has not passed, blaming Republicans for that. But what about the porous border? And that's where he went. What's interesting is we now know she's going to do this particular venue, the National Association of Black Journalists. Going into today, that was not the case. It'll be remote. The president has said he will debate her if she becomes the nominee.
Forrest Borat.
Center stage. It's interesting to get one of them on that dais.
Indeed, it is. I want to play a little bit, Harris, a little montage of some of what happened up there.
Gonna need a montage.
What the reaction of the crowd was, because it's a great point. At times it sounded like they were kind of cheering him on, and then at other times it sounded like they were surprised by what he was saying.
Sounded like they were laughing at him, and hooting and hollering.
We want people. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be
mocking the
vetted,
motherfucker.
They have to be checked. So when you say, what do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
think
if you
it's
can answer
a
the
very
question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered
black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best.
These are not the clips everybody else are playing.
Population since Abraham Lincoln.
All right, there's two. There's Harris.
They did not play clips of the crowd cheering for him
with
at any moment.
One first, the Abraham Lincoln comment, and we also played earlier his questions about whether or not Kamala Harris is Indian or black. Your thoughts on all of that?
Did not play those comments.
Right,
now, did they?
Let's start with the order that you gave me. Just in terms of the former president answering questions, Martha, you and I have both interviewed him. It's an interesting journey that you go on, but you've got to keep pressing. And there was a little bit of contention on the dais about whether or not he could hear, and when he could hear, would he answer?
She's talking about him like he's mushrooms or something.
I feel like when it comes to the issues that he was talking about, What the question was that I had asked him was, with black communities feeling the pressure of high pricing now, what policy do you have that's going to go toward them?
Oh, I didn't tell you to suck my dick. I said
Come here.
Putin can suck my dick.
For black people who are young and in the audience.
But now, if you like,
so you heard a little bit of that in his.
Sucking dick is not necessarily an insult. It can be. I can tell people to suck my dick is like an insult in English. It's kind of like a power move. Be like, yeah, suck my dick, yeah. But in reality, like, you know, if I see a nice dick, I'm gonna suck it lovingly. I will caress that dick, right? Caress the cock. So it depends on the context, right? But I was literally telling Putin to suck my dick because he's probably a cute little twank.
First answer in that. And then
he got some leather daddy stuff.
Before, in terms of the audience shouting back and having some reaction to him, it was chippy at times, but for the most part.
I am not gay, Veronin. I'm bisexual, or pansexual, whatever you want to call it. I'll fuck everybody. Everybody. Yeah.
They were laughing and they were getting kind of what they didn't have before this, and that was a conduit to a man that they see a lot on TV but don't know a lot about his policies. Kamala Harris and President Trump are going to be an interesting debate if and when that should happen.
So, you know, talk to me a little bit about his responses on Jane.
All right, like she totally blazed over that question. Kyle the Communist, what's going on, my friend? Thank you for being a freaking follower. They were going to talk about J.D. Vance. Ironically, my next clip is J.D. Vance over in Arizona. I'm sure he's saying some bullshit. Oh, Kyle. While many in my chat may be communist, anarchist, far left of me, they'll tell you I'm a shit lib. I don't get to wear the comrade badge. I think it's a fun word to say. I'd love to call you my comrade. Especially after I watched the our butthole, yes. Ah, shit, it's time for I guess it just hit the commercial break. Speaking of being the capitalist that I am. Especially after I watched the Chernobyl miniseries. Like, I really like calling people comrade. A lot of fun. J.D. Vance, not a comrade. He was down at the border.
In the meantime, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance spent the day at the U.S.-Mexico border in Arizona. He criticized the Biden
what the fuck is that shirt?
Response to people and drugs crossing the border illegally. Vance spoke about his own family's experience with substance abuse.
And I have been a little kid waiting at the bedside of his mother, angry that his mom took something that she shouldn't have taken, but praying to God, please, Jesus, let her wake up. And the unfortunate truth is, because of the poison that Kamala Harris has let come into this country, there are a lot of those prayers that won't be answered. There are a lot of parents that won't wake up, because when you take fentanyl, you don't wake up. It takes your life.
Republicans have criticized Vice President Harris for not visiting the border during recent visits to.
It looks like what a rich man's idea of a poor man's shirt would look like. And that is absolutely the first time he's ever wore that shirt. It is crisp out of the package. Out of the package, as if he's wearing something out of the package. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is the front runner for the vice presidential nominee nod. This is one of the possible telltale signs that he might be the pick. We're going to find out by Monday. Shapiro canceling a trip that he had planned to the Hamptons.
CNBC reporting Governor Shapiro has canceled a trip to the Hamptons. Shapiro was supposed to attend in at least 2 events in the Hamptons, including a meet and greet with wealthy donors. A spokesperson told NBC the trip was planned weeks ago and had included fundraisers for his own campaign committee.
Is that an indication that he is going to be named? He is the one that I least want on the list. I'm with my good friend Sean Fain over here. There's 2 names I prefer.
Look, two names really resonate high with our union. The top name, it was Andy Beshear. I'm a huge Andy Beshear fan. I believe Andy Beshear, he's been there with us every step of the way. And then also Governor Walz in Minnesota. Those are really our top 2 people, and both of those men walked the picket line with our workers this past fall, and they've always been there for working class people. So, we'll see what the vice president does, and like I said, she's got to pick who she's comfortable with, but that's where we're leaning. So,
boom, that's where I'm leaning as well. Dougie, good evening. Torchy, you have not missed the police chase. We have a fresh one. We've got a fresh police chase taking place today or last night. The other name that Sean Fain dropped, the governor of Minnesota.
Hey everybody, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz here, longtime school teacher. Excitement in the air, feels like first day of school. And as a football coach, we're back on offense. Vice President Harris is bringing the energy, making sure she's going to be there to protect the democracy and get folks fired up, making sure we're protecting reproductive rights, working for the middle class, and bringing back some joy to our politics. So get out there, feel the excitement, get engaged. Let's win this thing in November. Hey everybody.
That's their counter to the calling her laughing Kamala or cackling Kamala. Cackling Kamala is better. But I think he's been going with laughing Kamala, which is not as good. But he's never, he's never one for the best names, and they're right there. Oh, you like Beshear?
I know I'm a little tough on the guy, but when he responded to the very first time that I said he ain't from where I'm from, here's what he said. How dare you attack, and he used these words, my origin story. Origin story? I mean, Batman has an origin story. Fictional characters have origin stories. We all have childhoods and upbringings. It shows you how contrived it is. People are going to see it. And we're going to elect the real candidate, Kamala Harris, this November.
Beshear is my top pick. Walz is my second pick. I think Beshear is the pick because if you're looking for the future of the party, it's a very youthful ticket. And if Beshear wants to be president, this is his path because it's a very crowded field. If there's an open primary and you've got Whitmer, you've got Shapiro, you've got Kelly, you've got Newsom, Democrats got a pretty deep bench. Let's see what some undecided voters feel about the state of the race following all the shakeups we've had in the last couple of weeks.
Those voters who have not firmly decided which presidential candidate to support the event last month, including an assassination attempt and a new Democratic candidate, have dramatically reshaped the race. Lisa Desjardins connected with the type of voters likely to decide the election before and after those shakeups.
We heard from thousands of voters across the country, different ages, politics, and walks of life, all dreading this election.
I'm wishing for something like normal.
I feel despondent. I feel that there is no good choice.
I just feel overall really disappointed and really hopeless.
We'll highlight a few now. In June, they were unhappy.
Frustrated, disappointed, let down,
a little dejected.
But just weeks later, extraordinary events changed the race. An assassination attempt raised a new image of Trump, followed shortly by a new partner in the race, with Trump choosing Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running.
Has there been a new image? Isn't it? I whistled. Has there been a new image of Trump? It's just the same old Trump, right? The assassination attempt didn't change him.
Running mate. And just days later,
I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
man. Biden was out of the race. Vice President Kamala Harris was in. But what did all this mean for voters? From our deciders, we have a snapshot of the change. It was large for Anna Fernandez, a 22-year-old in Miami about to go to law school. Here's how she felt over a month ago.
I have not a lot of confidence that things are going the way that they should in this country, but trying to maintain hope.
But her feelings now?
I feel
excited,
so hopeful, so excited.
Anna, who's finishing a gap year before law school, is herself an immigrant from Cuba. She crossed the border as a 4-year-old and sees her family as part of the American dream. But she also sees immigration policy that is failing both migrants and the border itself. A Democrat, she trusts Harris more than Trump to improve things. She has questions about Harris, but she's ready for a new generation and all the memes that Harris has sparked.
You think you just fell out?
Brat Summer.
She's definitely energizing me. Well, I love to think that I'm a serious consumer of news. I also love when Charlie XCX tweeted that Kamala is rat. That made me very happy.
It was almost like a cloud had lifted.
In New Mexico, Carlin Pinkins has a sense of hope too. But it may not help Harris. Pinkins is a graduate student and working multiple jobs. She has a full life, trivia nights, and getting outdoors. But rent is high, and she barely gets by.
Rent's too damn high.
She believes both parties are failing people like her. She wants to vote third party, but in June was worried about that helping Trump. This was her then.
We have these two candidates that don't care about people in my situation. And I'm steadily year after year watching things for me and my friends and people in my community get worse.
And now?
I feel a lot better voting third party now that I know that the Democrats are putting up a candidate that has a good, really good chance, I think.
What about a group Trump especially needs?
Interesting.
Critical Republicans.
So, a few things have happened since we last talked.
They have. It's been quite an experience here so far. I told you I wasn't too excited for this election cycle, and I guess that's probably been the most exciting one we've had in a while.
Zach Horn is a teacher in Western Pennsylvania.
You keep talking about it, Torchy.
Sports fan with
Light
two
one
kids.
up, tip one back.
He's highly tuned in to the election. In June, he was undecided.
This is the first year where I'm just not as excited as I would have been in the past. So I think that's where that disappointment feature comes in.
But 3 weeks later, the assassination attempt, just an hour from his home, put Trump in a more human light for him.
It helped to make him more personable, I guess is what you could say. So in a way, in terms of the vote and things like that, it kind of moved me closer.
How does an assassination make somebody more personable? Are you walking around out here almost getting assassinated? No, you're not walking around with Secret Service because people aren't trying to kill you. That's not personable. Do you know what personable means, sir?
To a Trump vote.
He watched the Republican convention thinking perhaps Trump would be a...
Because, hey, look at this. Do you know what this screams? Personable.
unifier.
Thank you very much.
And for 25 minutes, Zach heard a candidate he could support. But then the speech and Zach's thoughts changed again.
It became a stump speech. And it was a lengthy stump speech at that. And that lost.
Boring, too.
Quite honest. I was going to say I was kind of looking for the call for unity. It didn't happen the way that I expected it to. And so that initial move closer kind of got washed with some of those things later.
Now he's looking at Harris, considering her seriously, and saying her VP decision could make the difference. Zach's experience with Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro has been good.
If Josh Shapiro gets selected as the VP, I'd probably go from a lean Trump position currently to a lean Harris position at that point. But I still want to hear what everybody has to say.
That's why we don't want him to pick Shapiro.
Tomorrow, it would be, there'd be a lot of prayer.
Steve Beck runs his own travel agency in Alabama. In June, he had mixed feelings.
On one hand, discouraged, but on the other hand, just encouraged because we have a process that has been around a while, and it still does a very good job.
He remains disappointed, but he's trying to move past it, even as he still doesn't love the candidates or how they got here.
I wish, Kamala Harris had gone through a process. I wish there was someone other than Trump.
Venus, good evening.
And it's up to me as a voter to continue to look deeper.
One more decider in a swing state. This was Georgia voter Lauren Capey in June.
Frustrating.
She felt neither Trump nor Biden listens to voters. And now, with Harris as a candidate,
I feel differently. I feel more positive. I feel like maybe she's more in touch than he is. Of course, she's younger, and she's
Capey works for the Social Security Administration and finds joy in travel. And while she had been more anti-Trump before, she now sees reasons to like Harris.
Something feels different. I don't know, what that is. But, I'm a little more hopeful.
Had me there in the first half, as she was like, where she was anti-Trump before, I was like, what, she's warmed on Trump?
Something feels different. For voters, for the deciders especially, the race is not over. It's restarting.
It does. It feels different. Well, as Dustin pointed out when the stream first started, it's over half of Republicans would like a younger candidate. Like warming up to an abuser. Well, I mean, Harris just seems like a breath of fresh air based on what we've had before. All right, I have no I've lost control of the commercials again. So because this should have been the stopping point. I don't know if the commercials played or not. I'm gonna go ahead and play them, and then when we come back, we're gonna do crime stories. We've got multiple stories of jailhouse abuse, including a lawyer that was running some kind of baby scheme. Multiple car chases, including the grand finale. We got a nice, long, juicy chase that happened like today to sink our teeth into. A former Power Ranger pushed a man in Idaho. He pushed an old man down, a Power Ranger. And then we're going to talk about the whole Olympic outrage bullshit. So you get your 3 minutes of commercials. We'll get them out of the way. Nobody misses any content. I'm just going to hang out with prancing goldfish, smoke a little weed. And when you come back, you can hear about the Power Ranger pushing an old guy. I got a Smokey in my lap. A cat. I love this dude. I tried to take a nap between the show and all the bullshit I had to do earlier today. But I'm like laying there on the couch and he comes, he'll lay with me for just a second. And then he gets right down. I'm like, oh, Borg, good evening. Everybody coming in here tonight. They'll just let anybody in here. Oh, yeah, smoke. We need to smoke. Light one up, tip one back. Moscow is such a beautiful city. I wish we could all just get along. I'm a hippy dippy peacenik over here. I want to be able to go to Moscow. Just Tetris. I don't know. Is that racist just to yell? You hear fucking Moscow and you're like Tetris. Good fucking game. I'd like to read your message. I want to know what you said. I've still got it up over here. Second point, Putin believed that the Russian people would understand him. And again, I was not mistaken. The people of Russia really understood the given course. These are the Russian people. Historically, it is known that in difficult times, the Russian people have always rallied around the idea of patriotism and love for the fatherland. This is what happened now. That was something. Snicks, good evening. All right, if you're coming back from commercial break, we're in the crime section of the show tonight. Hit the content warning, because this one, I've got several. Nicole, good evening. I'm happy you got here too. Welcome in, Nicole. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing. Nicole comes in here like, I'm glad to be here. And then I'm going to hit her with like the most horrendous story ever. Oh, you want the Daily Lurker shout out. Let's do it. Portland 1000. Good evening, my friend. We're so glad to have you tonight. Don't feel that you have to hell yeah staying. I like you. I'd give you a titty slap.
A titty slap! What the? Come on now.
We're in the crime section of the show. So there's going to be some fucking horrible stories, a lot of cop death. This one has abuse of children inside of the juvenile detention center in Texas. Because what else would you expect from Texas?
Investigating living conditions and abuse of children inside the local Dallas Juvenile Detention Center. Now, according to the U.S. Justice Department, those same types of issues are happening inside Texas juvenile prisons. And this report is scathing. Behind the walls of 5 Texas juvenile prisons, the U.S. Justice Department says children are being subjected to harsh conditions and physical and emotional abuse.
These conditions understandably leave children feeling hopeless and desperate.
The report says some guards are using excessive amounts of pepper spray on juveniles for minor infractions,
such as when a staff member pepper sprayed a child.
Hell yeah, Nicole.
A washing machine door.
According to a report released by the Justice Department, one example is when a staff member said, "I ain't got time to deal with that. I'm spraying her fat expletive."
Cans of pepper spray meant to disperse large crowds being used on individual kids.
She was basically saying that inmate needed to wash their ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
I'm horrible, right in the middle of a serious story.
Pepper spray being discharged directly into kids' faces, and children being taunted or spit on.
And the report says some kids are being kept in isolation for 17 to 22 hours a day for weeks at a time with nothing to do.
Such isolation also carries a high risk of psychiatric harms, including hallucinations, paranoia, depression, anxiety, self-harm, and even suicide.
Investigators found that 85% of juveniles in jail have high or moderate mental health needs, but aren't getting proper mental health services.
Well, I believe it.
That are damaging to the children and also increase, not decrease, the odds that the kids will act out and develop more severe behavioral issues.
But perhaps the most
making the kids worse
allegations is the sexual assault of juveniles. In 3 of the 5 TJJD security facilities, children reported some of the highest rates of sexual victimization in the country.
In many incidents, TJJD staff, the very people charged with keeping children safe, are the abusers.
TJJD is supposed to be helping rehabilitate juveniles so they don't get out and commit more violent crime.
It is a fantastic quote.
It's not happening.
Dustin.
Texans know that this is not.
The purpose of a system is what it does. Who is that quote attributed to?
How we rehabilitate our children.
TJJD issued a statement saying they worked closely with investigators and in the past 2 years have increased supervision and safety by hiring more mental health professionals, improved training, and hired more staff by increasing wages. TJJD is accused of violating kids' constitutional rights and the American with Disabilities Act. This was a civil investigation, so there are no criminal charges that will be pending from this investigation. Back to you, Izzy.
I don't think it's that the system wants to turn out reprobates that are irredeemable to society. I think it's more that the system wants to prey on the dregs of society and gets good government grants. There's private prisons that are private facilities that are profiting, and not just the facilities that house the children, but there's the whole process of the commons and the being able to video chat is usually a charge. Phone calls are charged, and there's contracts for all that shit. It's all a fucking business. I think we're going out to Cali for this one. Gonna hit the content warning. Also, Sparkles, did you send me a picture of a bidet? Because I thought I dreamed that. But now that you've said it in the chat, it's bringing back the memory. I must have looked at it when I was half asleep. T-Dog.
New details about officers apparently shooting and killing a suspect at the end of a pursuit in Rosemead. Eyewitness News reporter Monica de Anda is live at the scene and has the very latest.
Who?
Monica?
Oh, Monica.
Philip, that pursuit ending right here off Charlotte Avenue in Rosemead. The crime scene tape is still up. Investigators are still out here. That street blocked off. We're told the driver grew up in this area. He was shot and killed by San Gabriel police. Gunfire.
Wednesday night. Good evening.
At first I thought it would fireworks, but then I thought, no, I mean, if there's cops going by, there's probably gunfire. And it was about 20 shots.
From the cops.
Heard the shots go off in his neighborhood. What he did not know at the time was that the victim was his brother-in-law.
He was a good guy, like everybody. Everybody has problems at some point in their lives, but he was very cool.
Who's your brother-in-law?
9 p.m. Wednesday, 2 San Gabriel police officers tried conducting a traffic stop. The driver of a 2015 Jeep failed to stop and a pursuit began. It all came to an end with shots fired on Charlotte Avenue. The driver and sole person inside of that car killed by police gunfire. This morning, the family still in disbelief, and some may not even know yet.
I haven't talked to my sister. That's my sister's husband. She's in Mexico right now. So that's all I know.
ABC 7 asked San Gabriel police if the suspect of that Jeep was armed and if they exchanged gunfire with the officers. A spokesperson for the department would not comment on that or on the identity of the suspect.
Probably not.
That family member we spoke to tells us that the man who was killed is survived by his wife and children. As far as the investigation goes, the California Department of Justice is now the lead.
Hello, I certainly didn't hear a crime that he committed that was worth the death penalty at any point. Nothing was articulated that made it sound like that man should have died for any fucking reason. I feel like if the cops kill somebody, they should be able to tell us a damn good reason why they did it immediately afterwards. I did not hear that damn good reason. The time in America right now is 9:25 Eastern Time. (9:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:25 p.m. Central Time. I gotta do math. Hold on. I'm so bad at it.
You take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
6:25 Pacific Time. Speaking of Pacific Time, they were on Pacific Time when this car chase happened. Here is your police chase of the day.
On the air to tell you about a pursuit, first by the sheriffs, now by the Los Angeles Police Department in Koreatown. This is a sports car we're looking at. Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal, Des. Des and SkyCal.
Oh, yeah, boy, this... Yes, I got you. This is really, really scary, Mike, right now as we get into rush hour here and very busy.
Into rush hour.
60 miles an hour with a very capable car, an allegedly stolen BMW. I think, actually, now we might be hearing armed robbery on this. And I believe this is a 6 Series BMW. These are definitely capable cars. You see the pedestrians all over the place as they make the northbound turn right now. So like you said, Mike, this was LA County Sheriff's deputies in South LA, but we made it up to Koreatown in record time, and LAPD took this one over. They actually have 2 helicopters on this one right now.
This one was today.
He's driving so maniacally right now. They need both of those helicopters. It took us some time just to
Mother Russia, time has
60
you.
miles an hour. We've already had a lot of close calls with cyclists.
Horrible Russian accent.
Pedestrians in different areas as we're now at 5th and Gramercy. Crash. Oh, my goodness. Horrible, horrible crash. It seemed inevitable.
And still
as
out on foot.
Now getting out and running. Out on foot.
Hold on. I want to see it again.
As we're now at 5th and Gramercy. Awful crash. Oh, my goodness. Horrible, horrible crash. It seemed inevitable.
And still out on foot.
Now getting out.
Damn, one more time.
On foot, dude. 60 miles an hour. We've already had a lot of close calls with cyclists and some pedestrians in different areas as we're now at 5th and Gramercy.
Oh my gosh.
Awful crash. Oh, my goodness. Horrible, horrible crash. It seemed inevitable.
And still.
Okay, that's the passenger.
And running. Out on foot. It looks like this is going to be the
Rainbow Tentacle.
Got out and ran. Now underneath.
Welcome in, my friend.
Let's put the map tracker up again at 5th and Van Ness.
Thank you for being a freaking follower.
Very serious crash. As the person is now underneath the awning. We'll try to stick with this one for a little bit. But running back here. Yep. Down in here. Unfortunately, under the cover of the awning right now. But I know LAPD, it sounds like they are aware of this suspect. I want to check on possible innocent people in that crash. That was a very, very severe crash.
Yes, it was.
I want to check on this suspect. So I think we'll hold this shot here for a second.
For a second. And Des, we're joined by Juan Fernandez here. He's with me at the anchor desk now. That was an incredibly violent.
Stick with us. We still got plenty of news.
That are swarming.
This was earlier today in L.A.
Unfortunately closed for them, though, that it was open for the suspect one. But that guy came through that intersection at 5th and Van Ness there, and it just absolutely.
One car spun until it hit that building.
And hit a building, an apartment building after.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
It started to smoke not long after it stopped.
I'd love to go swimming with
you.
One
passenger took off. What I'm curious about is whether or not the driver is trapped inside that car. Just the way that car landed, it was either next to a power pole or a tree. Not sure if he could get out.
He might not be alive.
Door. What are we looking at here, Des, Mike?
That's the suspect car. And Des, I had originally Kind of thought maybe the driver jumped out of the passenger side, but oh no, there's the driver.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
They might have been trapped at one point, and they're pulling them out right now. I don't even think that they care if this person's injured or not.
And the car's
after
smoking.
that insane driving, they just yanked them right out of the car. I mean, they need to get the suspect out one way or another because this thing might catch fire. That was such a violent collision. You saw there as we.
That is a good point.
Keeping the shot centered because they were going so fast. I think over 60 miles an hour in that crash. So we believe that is the driver that they just took into custody. I mean, very lucky that they're in a modern sports car with a lot of safety features after a crash like that, or this person could have easily lost their life in that crash. So here is the innocent vehicle that was involved, the innocent people in there. Again, a newer car, so let's hope that those...
Yeah, nobody's checking that car.
We have a pole that got knocked down. I think there might have been...
A street sign,
they clipped
too,
that tree. There's another street sign, another pole right there. I mean, this was just an...
Oh, he had broken legs, too, Venus.
And luckily, nobody on the sidewalk either, Mike.
That was one of those stories I had a follow-up to. I knew what he did in court and shit.
Crosswalks that they almost hit. And then you're lucky, and this may be the victim of the innocent car there, but they were lucky that where they hit this car was kind of in the back. So it didn't, straight T-bone. They spun around and they hit the building.
Lady B.
And, it doesn't look like there's any damage to the building. But look, you've got that traffic signal that's down, the street light that's down. There's the walk signal, the little box right there for the walk signal. Des, I don't know if we want to go back now that we know that the person...
Innocent car.
Okay, if they're still looking for that passenger over the apartment building.
The non-suspect car, the innocent bystander.
Position over here to the apartment building.
The officers in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
No. Somebody stole a BMW.
So, there was there was a female.
They were going way too fast.
And we did hear something about that. That might have been in the Koreatown area just before we got overhead. So they got that person that was probably in the very small back seat, and now the passenger. We just heard that they took him into custody, although they still have their weapons drawn. So as we come back around, let's see. I think that maybe they're probably going to have him on the ground right now.
He's in L.A.
That hand signal there that the middle officer is doing. Can you tell her?
They're just calling to move in.
Oh, okay.
So I think they have the person cornered, probably underneath the awning here. They probably have them down, spread out on their stomach. We'll see if we can see them underneath the covered parking here. But, they're making an approach. Let's just see what happens here in the next couple of minutes. But we believe, 2 out of 3 in custody for sure.
Well,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Who was in that car, the white car, looks to be okay, but I can only imagine the shock to her. Everything happened so fast, the impact, the spin out, and so much damage caused in such a little time there. We saw several street lights or street signs go down, and this car wedged. It's basically stopped by a palm tree that was there on the sidewalk. The passenger took off running, and we saw just moments ago police officers yank the driver out by his feet. I'm not sure if he was injured or not, but it was clear, Mike, that he didn't want to at least get out of the car. It didn't look like he was going to make it easy.
Yeah, and I'm playing back, Desmond's video. That crash, according to our speedometer, happened at 80 miles an hour.
Wow.
5th and Whitman, 80 miles an hour, and sideswiped that white.
Let's go back. Lady B, you still here?
The passenger still gets out and runs. Thankfully, it appears that the person in the white car is okay. But as you see, the LAPD officers now, we think, still look.
50 miles an hour. We've already had a lot of close calls with cyclists.
Here's the crash.
And, some pedestrians in different areas as we're now at 5th and Gramercy. Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, awful crash. Oh, my goodness. Horrible crash. It seemed inevitable.
And still out on foot.
Now getting out and running. Out on foot. It looks like this is going to be... They actually have 2 helicopters on this one right now because the suspect is driving so maniacally right now. They need those helicopters. It took us some time just to catch up with this pursuit. 60 miles an hour. We've already had a lot of close calls with cyclists and some pedestrians in different areas as we're now at 5th and Gramercy.
Oh,
no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, awful crash. Maniacally right now. They need both of those helicopters. It took us some time just to catch up with this pursuit. 60 miles an hour. We've had a lot of close calls with cyclists and some pedestrians in different areas as we're now at 5th and Gramercy.
Oh,
no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, awful crash. Oh, my goodness.
And then once LAPD took over, we had also started hearing them say that they were wanted for armed robbery. We heard mention of a rifle. So a lot going on with these suspects. I also wanted to kind of point out that LAPD generally, I don't say never, but generally doesn't take over chases from other agencies. Mm-hmm. That was what kind of got a little bit of a red flag for me as well, was that once this got into LAPD's area, LAPD said, yeah, sure, we'll take it. That's not terribly, usually the thing.
What was last night's chase?
Here, though, this is the last place I think Des.
You guys totally talked me into a chase.
They're just waiting to take him into custody, unfortunately.
I don't even remember what it was.
They're a little bit difficult. I think we have some replay, though, Juan and Des, of the crash here. Yeah. Amy Johnson joining us now as well. This is when we came through right here. Watch this, about 80 miles an hour according to our speedometer.
Boom!
Absolutely T-bones. You see that car spin out, hit the apartment building, and then the suspect gets out and runs.
And rips off the back bumper of the car, too.
Yeah, and the one just jumps out.
Yeah, it's been car chase USA here lately.
As well, you could see them getting on the ground, the officer.
Oh, yeah, the Challenger. And he went under the underpass.
And really looking for any possible place that someone could be hiding.
We don't know if they actually hijacked another car. Because I couldn't find anything about it, I wonder if they got the wrong people.
At this point, and obviously so, just to, at minimum, check her out.
There's never any follow-up.
Yeah. And sometimes, you're in shock and you don't realize the pain, and, it takes a couple of hours before it really set in that you are, in fact, hurting.
And again, very lucky that this car hit the back side of her white car there. It spun it out, ripped the back bumper out in the impact. But it looks like she was able to get out on her own, and we saw her sitting there, leaned up against either a palm tree or some sort of post.
3, 2, 1.
Mike Rogers now telling us on the desk here that they've asked for fire rescue units to come and check this woman out, make sure she's okay.
Porg, did I tell you good evening?
To the hospital just in case she has injuries that she may not be aware about just yet. But Mike, what's interesting is earlier on you were saying that all suspects are in custody, but now they're looking for somebody?
Yeah, so there was, it sounds like there were 3 people in the car in total. A woman was taken into custody before.
She was dropped off.
Dropped off and eventually taken into custody. And then the driver rather, who was unable to get out, was pulled out by officers. We watched that. Now, the third person, there was some radio chatter about all 3 being taken into custody, but that certainly doesn't appear to be the stance that those officers were taking. Mm-hmm. Now, and again, there were 2 helicopters over there. So there was a sheriff's department helicopter and an LAPD helicopter. So some wires may have gotten crossed or something like that. But, based on Desmond's last picture from that apartment building, it looks like they're still looking for somebody. Des, are you hearing anything else?
Everybody came
moving around up here in the air, and it sounds like what the airship was telling us is that they had all
the LAPD airship
a final sweep to make sure there was nobody else involved. So we haven't seen that person being taken out in handcuffs yet, though. But that is what we heard up here from the 2 law enforcement helicopters over the scene.
I've got Maynard rubbing all over my leg.
I just watched the replay of that crash. I mean, that vehicle spun around several times right here and then right up against this building. I mean, it was going so fast it could have, just gone a little bit farther and maybe done some serious damage to this apartment building. That was one of the
there it is again.
We have
Boom.
seen. That there was no loss of life in this is truly a miracle.
Yeah.
Especially if there would have been
that glass
around. Just an insanely violent crash. That poor woman probably.
The LAPD Starship Enterprise.
A few inches sooner, like you said, Mike, if they would have T-boned this car, could have been a totally different story for everyone.
California roll.
For the innocent people, but for the suspects in that car as well. So, just a really insane situation here.
What's the California roll? The cucumber, avocado,
it just seemed
cream cheese.
Sadly, that it was going to end this way.
Yeah.
That is.
And you notice different things every time I see the replay. I notice different things. That car also hit that white car that's parked there, and that white car kind of tapped the red car just in front of it.
Yeah, it's a type of sushi.
Bumper damage to that white car parked right there, right? This is Wilton and what?
5th.
Wilton and 5th.
In the Koreatown area.
Yeah, and Desmond giving us, Desmond, what were you showing us there when you were magnifying the area?
Well, we just heard that there.
Like it doesn't have any fish in it, though.
They saw those, so I was just saying if by chance if we could use them.
Like that's like a good entry point for people into sushi
because
it doesn't have fish in it.
Curtain airbags that all deployed inside of that car, and again, these modern cars have a lot of safety features for this reason. If anyone
crab, avocado, and cucumber
was more than 10 years old, again, this might have just ended in such a even worse fashion than it already did, as we're zooming in there on the victim's vehicle.
Ooh, I love spicy salmon.
Not sure what make that. Might be a Mazda, maybe a Mazda SUV. But wow, what an insane collision! I mean, it shook me up as well. I gotta admit.
You know, and we always talk about it during these pursuits, Desmond, that people are just driving along, minding their own business, completely.
I would love any type of sushi right now.
And that someone is just barreling through an intersection, and here is a perfect.
It's not a real Japanese roll, Venus. That's why it's a California roll. Like I actually watched I watched this kid that grew up in California, but his grandfather was a sushi chef in Japan, so he must be some influencer or something. I love kind of videos like that, with food, but he took American sushi from a good sushi place in Japan over to, and they tested everything. They're like, oh yeah, this is good American sushi. So then they took it to his grandfather, who was an actual sushi chef, and he liked several of the rolls. I think he was really into the dragon roll, and I am too. The dragon roll is one of the best. He's like, it's not real sushi though. Yeah, that was one of the first things he pointed out about it. I love fucking sushi. I would love to try Japanese sushi. The sushi he made, because he made a couple of his favorite rolls after. I was like, I'd totally eat that too. I'm down to try anything. I'm not going to try to fight a fast food worker like this armed robber did in Georgia. Because it didn't work out well for them, I don't think. Hold on, I might have to refresh the page.
A fast food worker fought back after an armed man forced his way into a Georgia restaurant. Surveillance video released by the Gwinnett County Police Department shows the back office of an Atlanta area Chick-fil-A. Gwinnett County police say the suspect got into the restaurant around 4:30 in the morning by walking up to the drive-through window and shooting it with a rock. A worker was followed into the back.
Did he say shitting it? Or
shattering it with a rock.
Oh,
a worker was followed into the back room by a masked man. Authorities say the suspect ordered the worker to open the safe. The employee did not have the safe's combination. Video shows the physical altercation that followed between the two men. They fought for several minutes, and the employee was able to remove the suspect's mask. The worker reportedly said it was thoughts of his children that encouraged him to continue the fight. The suspect fled the Chick-fil-A and was gone when the police arrived. This incident happened on July 1st. U.S. Marshals arrested the suspect on July 31st. He is now facing several charges, including armed robbery and aggravated assault. This is Inside Edition Digital.
Who was your favorite Power Ranger? I liked the Green Ranger. And then they killed off the Green Ranger, but he came back as the White Ranger. And then I stopped watching that shit. I just barely caught the first season or two. See, Curiouser, you were too old for it. I grew out of it after it was yeah. So I'm in 5th grade, or it might have been 4th grade when it came out for me. 4th grade and 5th grade, we played Power Rangers, but by 6th grade, I'm wearing like torn jeans. I've got like an army jacket. I'm listening to like fucking Nirvana and Alice in Chains. I'm too fucking cool. What year would I have been in 5th grade? I have no fucking... Power Rangers probably came out like 94? Oh, I can't wait to hit Ganners. Ganners Ledzvik. I can't wait to hear your goddamn question. Come on. I will assure you, nobody's going to ban you. Because that's totally not how anything works. And there's a lot wrong with Trump being president. If I was in the 5th grade, I'd be 10 years old. So that would be 94. That sounds right. Anyway, yeah. So I even told a joke on stage one time. It never really landed very well. About how, like, in 5th grade I was into Power Rangers, and in 6th grade I was into pussy. Anyway, perhaps your favorite Power Ranger was the dude that pushed an old man in a parking lot.
So shoving another man after an argument in a parking lot. The suspect is an actor known for his role as a Power Ranger in a live-action superheroes kids show. And, of course, our Jude Binkley shows us more about the case.
Oh, she's nervous.
Upcoming event in the Magic Valley. Jude?
Well, Hunter, 35-year-old Hector David Rivera has played the Green Power Ranger in the popular kids show, and he's being charged with misdemeanor battery after police say he pushed a man with a walker to the ground during an altercation. Video post
Wait, he was the Green Ranger?
Facebook page shows an altercation where
They said the Green Ranger.
Early 60s is shoved to the ground in a Nampa parking lot Friday afternoon after an argument over parking. Nampa police say after pushing the man, the suspect drove away. The victim is okay. After asking for the community's help, Nampa police identified the suspect as 35-year-old Hector David Rivera of Nampa. Rivera goes by the stage name Hector David Jr. and is an actor famous for playing the Green Power Ranger from 2011 to 2015. Nampa PD have not been...
Yeah, 2011, not the one from the 90s. Yeah, he's dead now. Battle Opossum coming in like he's all up on your nerd shit like that.
Able to find Rivera, who is facing a misdemeanor battery charge. A warrant for his arrest is in the process of being issued. Following the apparent battery, Rivera deleted his social media. He was scheduled to appear at Magic Valley Comic-Con this weekend. Rivera's picture was featured on the front page of the convention's website, but was removed on Tuesday, although his appearance is still on the event's schedule. KTVB has reached out to both Rivera and Magic Valley Comic-Con, but has yet to hear back. The investigation is ongoing. And a misdemeanor battery charge carries up to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine in Idaho. Hunter Morgan, this is a developing...
Idaho!
We'll make sure to keep you updated as we learn more, including with whatever happens with Magic Valley Comic-Con.
That's why she was nervous. She might be fucking new. So, like, Idaho is one of those markets where, like, you're going to get right out of college or you're on your way down in your career. Like, there are certain markets you hit on your way up or on your way down as you're working your way up in TV. And Idaho would be one of those markets. So she's probably like fresh out of college and shit. It's adorable. No, Idaho. Just the tip. All right, content warning for the next couple of stories because we're going to talk about some trans issues. So, of course, there's going to be some transphobia involved. First, we're going to go to Florida, where apparently a parent of a trans child was an employee at a school and allowed her trans child to play volleyball. She's now been suspended.
I wasn't fired. I wasn't terminated. So kind of triumphant. I fought back. I didn't let them walk all over me.
A Florida school employee who let her transgender daughter play on her high school's girls volleyball team is being suspended for 10 days. The suspension comes after the district's board found on Tuesday that she violated state law, but said firing her would be too severe. The board found that Norton's actions violated the state's Fairness in Women's Sports Act, which bars transgender females from playing girls' high school sports.
She misses volleyball. She misses her friends. The team misses her. No matter what anybody's political views are or their views are on transgender children, like a child's life was...
Tom, good evening. Tom G. You my OG homie. Then there's this whole uproar that's been going on over the Olympic fighter. I'm going to play you the fight in its entirety. She quit the fight. Now, before anyone has any misconceptions, the fight you just watched was between two cis women. Allow me to pull up the story here so I can get the names correct. Tell you who is who in this fight and what the uproar is about. This fighter in the blue is Angela Carini. Angela Carini. So she was Italian, and she was upset that Emaine Khalif was allowed to compete. Emaine Khalif was she from Pakistan? Not saying what country she's from. Hold on. Algerian. She's Algerian. Thank you. She has an XY chromosome, and she produces an abnormal amount of testosterone. She was disqualified from competing in the International Boxing Association. So she was disqualified from competing in the International Boxing Association because of her elevated testosterone levels. She is a cis woman. Just in case anyone, I feel horrible having to say this, but just in case anyone is unclear, she has a vagina. This is why sex is more complicated than your genitals. She has a vagina. She has XY chromosomes, which are male, and she produces an abnormal amount of testosterone. So bigots are going nuts, calling her trans. Now here's the thing, is apparently Algeria does not allow transitioning. So she may very well have transitioned and been a male if it had been allowed. So it is absurd that anyone is getting upset. Yeah, I didn't really want to be crude, but I wanted to put it in as clear as terms as possible. for anyone who doesn't understand. And this is an example of why gender is not black and white, why sex is not black and white. I wasn't able to finish the match. I felt a strong pain in my nose. And I said to myself, for the experience that I have and the maturity as a woman that I have, I said, I hope my nation won't take it badly. I hope my father won't take it badly. But I stopped. I said I had stopped for myself because I could have been the match of my lifetime. But I had to preserve my life as well in that moment, and I felt to do so. I didn't have fear. I don't fear the ring. I don't fear taking the blows. But this time there's an end for everything, and I put an end to this match. Because I wasn't able to. Her nose looks fine, by the way. I don't see any issue with her nose. Yeah, imagine being a boxer and quitting because you got punched once. Now, Shot and Chaser here. Let me read this series of tweets to you. Top one is Amy Broadhurst. She is a women's professional boxer. I have a lot of people texting me over the Aman Khalif. Personally, I don't think she has done anything to cheat. I think, hold on. Put the cat down. Oh, he's getting in his little cubby hole. I don't think she's done anything to cheat. I think it's the way she was born, and that's out of her control. The fact that she has been beaten by 9 females before says it all. So then some chud chimes in. What would your reaction have been if you were supposed to fight Khalif? Amy, I have great respect for your boxing legacy, but you've missed the mark here. Agreed the way you're born is out of your control, but it's a clear advantage and shouldn't be allowed. Chaser. Amy Broadhurst did fight Aman Khalif in the 2022 championship final and won. All kinds of controversy at the Olympics this year. Oh my God, Smokey. Let me get the...
High indeed. This following the Algerian fighter Amin Khalif's victory over Italian opponent Angela Carini. Now, this bout decided after only 45 seconds, the two boxers exchanging only a few punches before Carini walking away and abandoning the contest. Her headgear as well apparently becoming dislodged at least once before she quit. A spot of blood also on her trunk. The Italian did not shake her rival's hand either after the decision was announced. Carini also reduced to tears as well in the ring, sinking down to her knees. Now, Khalif is an accomplished amateur who won...
Ducky, that Turkish marksman was cool as shit. Because he looked like he just got out of fucking bed. Like, all the other people have, like, eyepieces and visors and shit. This dude had nothing. And he had his hand in his pocket.
Won a silver medal at the 2022 International Boxing Association World Championships, though she was disqualified from last year's championships shortly before her gold medal match because of what were allegedly elevated levels of testosterone. Now, Khalif and Lin Yuting of Taiwan have received a huge amount of scrutiny for their presence in Paris after years of amateur competition. Lin won the IBA World Championships in 2018 and 2 years ago as well, but the governing body stripping her of a bronze medal last year because it claimed she failed to meet unspecified eligibility requirements in a biochemical test.
The fuck?
This involves real people, and we're talking about real people's lives here. They have competed and they continue to compete in the women's competition. They have lost and they have won against other women throughout over the years. And by the way, this isn't should make this absolutely clear for everyone. This is not a transgender issue. I know you know that, but I think there has been some misreporting on this, and I think it's very, very important to say that this is not a transgender issue. These women have been competing in competitions for many years. The testosterone is not a perfect test. Many women can have testosterone which is in what would be called male levels, and still be women and still compete as women.
Yep.
So this panacea, this idea that suddenly you do one test for testosterone and that sorts everything out, not the case, I'm afraid.
Well, Karini later saying, I am not here to judge or pass judgment. If an athlete is this way, and in that sense it's not right, or it is right, it's not up to me to decide. I just did my job as a boxer. I got into the ring.
You didn't do your job as a boxer. You didn't box at all. You wussed out.
Ring and fought. I did it with my head held high and with a broken heart for not having finished.
It is.
That's insane. Yeah, apparently Simone Biles is fucking racking up the gold. Good on her. I just want to point out that neither of the two boxers, there are two that the right winger are going to go nuts over. Neither of the two boxers in the women's division are trans. There's only one trans athlete competing at the Olympics, and it is a trans man. Hergy Basayadin is a trans boxer at the Olympics because my heart says so. Olympic boxer Hergy Bakatagam marked his name in the proud Filipino tradition in his sport with his Olympic debut bout against China's Lin Qian on Wednesday. Batakin lost, unfortunately, and apparently really bad too. But hey, there was a trans man competing at the Olympics. Right wingers didn't say shit about that, though. And now for tonight, I'm going to give you a very heartwarming story. But I'm going to give you a warning beforehand because I know people love puppies and they hate to hear anything bad happen to a puppy. But this one has a really good ending.
This dog was swimming in the Gulf for over an hour before a dinner cruise went by and noticed the pup.
I heard a bunch of commotion going on the back of the boat, and I looked out and I saw something in the water. Then I started hearing dog, dog, dog.
We now know that dog's name's Ellie. Her owners told me 1 minute they were—
Look how cute!
And the next, she was gone.
Igloo, good evening.
Bridge, and I quit playing with her because I needed to watch traffic and stuff. And after we got under the bridge and out into the Gulf a little ways, my wife said, "Where's Ellie?" And I mean, I put it into neutral right away, and she wasn't there. So we started the zigzag pattern.
They looked for Ellie for hours until it was dark and their boat ran out of gas. Ellie's parents, Ben and Kathleen, thought the worst.
I just figured that was it. I am 72 years old, and I've probably cried more in the past 18 hours.
But then they saw Ellie on Wink News.
That's how you started the news at 5:30 was with her, and that's when we made some phone calls.
I caught the reunion on camera.
Are you?
Oh, beautiful.
What are you doing? We're just thankful for everybody. Yeah, like I say, Wink News, the boat captain who we saw it being interviewed on the news.
It's a miracle.
No, it's a miracle. I mean, it is.
A miracle this little pup, with the help of some friends, was able to find her way home.
We love this little dog.
I'm gonna cry. I know exactly how they feel, because this motherfucker went missing for 8 days one time. That was so sad.
And the next, she was gone.
I was going underneath Sanibel Bridge, and I quit playing with her because I needed to watch traffic and stuff. And after we got under the bridge and out into the Gulf a little ways, my wife said, "Where's Ellie?" And I mean, I put it into neutral right away, and she wasn't there. So we started the zigzag pattern.
They looked for Ellie for hours until it was dark and their boat ran out of gas. Ellie's parents, Ben and Kathleen, thought the worst.
I just figured that was it. I am 72 years old, and I've probably cried more in the past 18 hours.
But then they saw Ellie on Wink News.
That's how you started the news at 5:30, was with her, and that's when we made some phone calls.
I caught the reunion on camera.
If you're watching on Twitch, you are heading over to the Surfs. It is Leftist Mafia on a Thursday night. Figure that's where you're all going anyway.
For everybody. Yeah, like I said,
go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
No,
we'll see you Sunday night on the Troll Patrol.
This little pup,
live.
Friends, was able to find